Hey everybody, today is Friday, May 17th. I'm Gene.
And I'm Zane.
And you're hanging with Uncle.
How are you guys doing? Changing it up. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Started that new position and able to do Friday nights now.
Yay, we're back on schedule.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing we wanted to point out there. We're back at it on Fridays. Hopefully everyone didn't hate the hold schedule too much, but we're back at it on Fridays again, back to normal.
Yes.
No longer doing the Saturday routine. So, welcome back. First, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already.
Yes, we're trying to help us get to at least 1,000 subscribers, and then hit that thumbs up, that like button, and let the rest of the world know we exist.
Exactly. And I'm hopping into the chat right now, so if you want to say hi or anything like that, I'm here. I'm hopping in right now, actually. Boom. Hey. Now, first things first. We got a few things to talk about today. I know Gene has his, and I think we're going to start with that one. It is the first one on the list, and I feel like this one's a good one to kick off with.
So, yeah, I think the trial in New York, the Trump trial, could quite possibly be over with by next week.
And is it because the witness is coming up on Monday?
So,
I paid attention.
no, but that is a good question. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. So, Michael Cohen is on the stand.
Yeah.
And he's being cross-examined. All right? Will the prosecution choose to redirect, because then it opens up recross again, or will they rest? The question is, in my opinion, who, if anybody, is the defense going to call as a witness?
That's what it meant. The witness, and I get the legal terms mixed up.
So, I mean, I've heard speculation. I really don't care because I don't think there's anyone they can call that is going to be able to relate to the facts in this case.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Pretty airtight for Mr. Trump at the moment. That's what I'm understanding. He is not only being barred and not able to speak and gagged, but he is also losing under pressure, is what I'm hearing as well, under the courtroom. He's getting upset. He's getting frustrated.
He's been chastised.
Yes. So I honestly do believe that as well. It's soon to be over, but it's only one trial of many, to my understanding.
First of four.
Yeah. So, hey, first hurdle out of the way for Mr. Trump. Congratulations.
And
soon. But,
but see, in my opinion, here's the significance of that.
Yeah.
This is the end of May, which means possibly if the jury we have a chance that this case could be done in May.
Correct.
And then how are people going to think that we have somebody with a felony conviction during an election cycle? Because now you've been convicted by a jury of your peers, and what is that going to play in the polls? Because I don't really pay attention to any of the polls. I think they're all full of shit right now. I don't think there's no way they can be close as they're trying to paint it, but
We're going to circle back to that polls thing, because I actually want to bring that up, because that also reminds me of something that happened this morning.
Okay.
But back to it is, it's ending soon. It definitely is. That's definitely what I'm seeing. I can't agree more about that, because what else do they have besides this witness? Again, it's just a whole other scapegoat thing. It's the same strategy, which is where I was going to get to at this, that he's been playing forever. Scapegoat this, and look at this over here, and do this over here, woohoo. And yeah, I think it's so funny that even people today say that even if he is a convicted felon, I'm still gonna vote for him. He's my president. It's so crazy to me.
And they're in the minority, thank God.
Of course, and they're recognizing that too. That's why they're acting up.
And here's the thing, right? So the people, the district attorney's office, has the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt to prove their case. In New York, their legal system is set up to where the defense goes first and does their best to implant that seed of reasonable doubt in the jury's mind.
Okay.
Then the prosecution gets up and closes because they have the last word.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a chance to say, these are the elements of the case. This is where we prove the elements of the case.
Mm-hmm.
You have no other conclusion to come to but guilty. So go back there and do it. And I'm just kind of being silly. But
Right. It's kind of just like how it's going to play, basically, though. Kind of drawing
Right.
it out.
And, and that's what we're looking at. Plus, there are 2 attorneys on the jury. And I think any legal questions the other 10 jurors may have, if any, will be deferred to them. I'm like you. I think the case is so airtight. I would really be surprised if the jury came back with a question for the court on an issue they're having.
Yeah. It's just, on to the next one, is what I'm thinking. On to the next.
You know, and what is the next one going to be? Because, but here's the thing. I want to circle back to this one before we go on.
Yeah, we're not going on yet because I don't have another question.
So, also, I think this thing in the news, they're overplaying it, how they have a debate scheduled.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Right? So, if the first debate is scheduled for June,
Yeah.
and he's convicted in May, I do not foresee President Biden going to the New York State Criminal Institution, the penitentiary, to debate a convicted felon.
Yeah, nope.
So, I think it's all for show. I don't think a debate will be had, and for that reason, because personally, I believe that there's going to be a guilty verdict, and they're going to take him away.
The the one thing that came from that is a really good meme. It was a Simpsons meme where it shows the grandpa yelling at the cloud, but they copied it and mirrored it. It goes, "Old man yells at old man" for the debate. Even though, if it does go on, I really do think it would just be a whole wash anyways. So either way, like whatever happens with it, I just say. But I wanted to get to the actual question that you came up. You said polls earlier. Can you define what polls are? Where do these polls come from? Because I don't find myself voting in these polls.
Right, and so this is my issue with polls, and there are several polls out there. There's a Gallup poll, which I think is the most famous and recognizable. YouGov is credible. Monmouth University is another credible poll.
So, okay, credible, certified things, whatever, that I'm not interacting with.
Okay, so you can go to, these things do have a website where you can participate in polls if you want.
Okay.
If you actively want to participate in them, you can go to Gallup.com and sign up for the polls and answer, the questions that are given and stuff.
Okay. Because I'm just wondering, the reason why the questions come up is that according to President Trump, that the reason why the stock market is going up is because he's leading in the polls.
So
I don't know if that's, I think it's the silliest thing to say, but he thinks the reason why the stock market's going up is because he's leading in the polls.
I'm going to go DC comic verse on this one.
Okay.
Man.
Okay.
And that makes no sense to you or me is because he's saying it from Bizarro World.
We have talked on the show about how the stock market actually works and how we talk about how we're in on the stock market, money, trade, stocks, whatever, and we understand and learned. We self-taught ourselves on how it works. It has nothing to do.
It has nothing to do
with any presidential anything besides things that they sign and approve.
That's right.
And he cannot do any of that at the moment because he's not thy president.
It has more to do with who's sitting in Congress. Because if I'm sitting in Congress, say for example, me, Gene Smith, is sitting in Congress, and I'm on the health insurance committee. You know, well, guess what? I'm going to see what the trends are in the markets and what they're telling me, and I'm going to buy a crap load of stock and make a whole bunch of money, and then sell at the right time because I'm the one making the laws.
Yeah, I have not seen anything Mr. Trump do besides be in court. Like, what has he done to actually make the stock market go up? How do the polls affect that? I think, what the?
So the polls, to me,
the polls.
All right. So if you look at a poll, let's just say Gallup, right?
Yeah.
And look up nationally who is winning or what the people think, right? There are like almost 200 million registered voters in the United States. Why do they only poll like 1,000 people?
That's what I'm wondering too, because only 1,000 people say that he's leading the stock market's up because those 1,000 people
and
put their opinions out there.
You can put that from okay, where do you ask these 1,000 people? Where do they come from? You can cherry pick how your poll's going to look, just for the sake of drama. Again, you know, profit is where the chaos is, and I think that's where the polls are because. Come election day, you know, the polls mean absolutely nothing.
Really, they don't.
And that's why I don't pay attention to them now. Now, after the verdict in this trial, if it's an acquittal, heaven help us all. If it's a guilty verdict, then you'll see President Biden's numbers really surging.
There we have it. We actually had, I was like, we're going to stick on this topic a little bit because I have some questions. But perfect. Get that out of the way. Next, celebration. Schedule 3, baby. We're in. We're in. We told you. We're going to be in on this. We're almost there. They're doing the study. They're doing the research. That means more money is going to be poured into thy cash crop of our country while it's being studied because hospitals and then however they're going to study it, they have to get it, obtain it, so they're going to purchase it in quantities, right? And they're going to research it and figure out how it benefits Americans and benefits people, like people with epilepsy, people with bipolar issues, people with anxiety, people with anything else, and eating disorders and stuff like that.
The list goes on.
Also, clothing, hemp as well. Hemp is a strain of the plant or part of the plant, female, male version, that's what it is, sex of the plant, whatever you want to call it, that can also make quality clothing. Quality things for us in the future as well.
Lotion.
Man, that's good lotion. But also, it'll put money in our pockets because it's definitely a good time to look into a space that's something like that, if you catch my drift. I'm not a professional. I'm just an idiot. Okay?
Right. Right. And all I can tell you is following these trends, I'm up 70 cents a share since the announcement of Schedule 3.
And you're collecting your acorns and you're lowering your average. I'm lowering my average and the amount that I have. And I think it's a very smart idea to get into this space now if you are not. Not my advice. I'm just saying it out loud and
just
thinking
an opinion.
Yep. Thank you. Just saying it out loud to a camera because it's just me watching at the moment. Technically. At the moment. Anyways, moving on then from Schedule 3 because that's a big deal. I'm about to sneeze.
Bless you.
Ooh, thank you. The Oversight Committee.
Oh my God.
We had a very interesting day today in the Oversight Committee, which made me very happy to be American today. I don't know how we put it, but our favorite...
favorite dumbass?
Yeah, I would say the leading dumbass, I would say, on the show. Marjorie Taylor Greene is in the conversation today, but not as a dumbass of the week. There is others who have earned that today.
Yeah. Although she does deserve it.
Oh man, it was close. It was close. Now, during the Oversight Committee, we're talking about, I don't know, the first, minute of the committee.
I can tell you
where the idea of what the committee was about was being passed on to the person who was calling attention to it.
I have no idea who the witnesses that were called to the meeting. I have no idea the topic of the meeting.
Nope.
Because it immediately turned into a 3-ring circus as soon as the gavel was struck.
A mess. So Marjorie decides to throw shade at, what was the other girl's name? I apologize.
Jasmine Crockett.
Crockett, thank you. At her eyelashes for being too big for.
What's that supposed to mean?
Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we starting this? Hello?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, gavels hit, order, court, whatever, strike those words, brr, and pointing fingers and yelling, whatever. AOC hops in, we need to strike those words down, blah, blah, blah. They're not putting them on the, whatever, don't put them on the transcript. And Marjorie's like, you can strike my words all you want, but you can't, I'm not going to say sorry.
You can go to C-SPAN and see for yourself.
Exactly. It was a mess. But these are the people that are leading our country. But also the rebuttal. We have to talk about the rebuttal because in rap beef, there's always a return, correct? So then Kendrick Lamar, Crockett, came out and dropped a return diss track saying, so, Judge, is it clear for me to be able to say that you bleach blonde, broad, butch-shouldered woman or bodied woman, again, check it out, it's funny, to rebuttal that situation. And it was a mess. And it was funny, but also the major conversation behind this is these are the people that are running our country again.
Right? So, just answer me a question. Riddle me this, Batman.
Yeah.
What does the length of somebody's eyelashes have to do with getting bills passed that meet the requirements for the general health, safety, and welfare of the American people?
Nothing. It just reflects her hatred towards people, and she just wanted to be hateful in that situation.
She's just showing how small-minded she is. And elementary in her thinking.
Yep.
In her thought process.
And again, you and I both say it's not just certain people. There's plenty of dumbasses within the government. But man, it was like trying to herd cats on that video.
and our favorite Moscow Margie was not the only one.
No, not at all.
Just go and see for yourself.
Check it out.
And if you guys know what the hearing was supposed to be about, let us know.
No, right. Because I couldn't pay attention. I couldn't pay attention long enough to care after that. It was like, what is this? What is this shit show?
It's watching a slow train wreck that you can't turn your head away from.
And then also another government news in Taiwan. A representative, I don't know the name, I didn't look too deep into it, but check out just Taiwanese government. And
oh my goodness.
He ran in while the bill was getting ready to go put on the table. They're bringing the bill in, right?
Yeah.
He goes in and strips it like a football and runs it like the LB.
I'm telling you, man. The scouts should watch that, man, because that dude needs some pads and a helmet.
That was great. He ran through what? It was at least 20, 30 people.
Yeah.
And they all were... He didn't want to get signed.
He made it out the door and was gone.
It was so good. Check it out. It was funny. But what is going on with the world and government?
Man, I guess the people... The majority, people like you and me, because we're in the majority, are tired of the minority being the ruling class. And that's what it boils down to.
Really, it does. Buckets. It really does. And again, they don't even represent us most of the time anyways.
They don't. That's why we have this show, man, because this is the point of view that never gets paid attention to.
Not at all. Now, the next story, we do got to talk about some dumbassery that doesn't get an award either, because this is something that everyone just needs to pay attention to and look at. Diddy's in the news. First off, the conversation I would start about Diddy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, had a lot of allegations surface a few months ago about him wanting services from other rappers in order to... be on his label.
50 Cent came out huge about it.
Absolutely. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. Again, conversation. But moving on from that, also he's a woman beater as well, because he literally his girlfriend was walking down the hallway, hotel it looks like. Yeah. It looks like it's a hotel. Going and gets the elevator. He comes out in the hallway, I'm assuming buck naked.
Well, he had a robe. He had a bathrobe or a towel
around him,
and he's running down the hallway holding the towel with one hand,
and sprinting, like power walking down the hallway. And videos all over the place. Again, you can check it out if you need to. But he then yanks her down to the floor and abuses her, of course.
Hits her, kicks her.
Trigger warning for those.
Drags her down the hallway back to the room. So I mean, that's one story that I've seen because the videos are
It's
there.
video evidence,
And who knows how many other allegations are out there about this dude.
But again, it's just like, go check it out. Check out your sources and your info, because I thought it was just something that a lot of people would be interested in and looking into, because his reign of terror is over, it seems.
I certainly hope so.
That is absolutely insane.
Watch that idol worship, people.
That is one thing I wanted to bring up. Because we have some, I had an accent there. We have a little bit of filler going on here. So, idolism is back in this conversation, right? Mm-hmm. I actually had somebody in my training come in who was young, 19, talking about how she believes that idolism has taken over her generation and is causing them to see blindly about things and only the surface level of things rather than to actually looking into things, which is why people are able to just throw allegations and things just stick. And I'm absolutely agreeing with that. I'm seeing it, actually. Yeah. Like, firsthand, the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. We talked about it. It's whoever their number one person is. That really what it was. It wasn't just, oh, you just threw allegations when one person actually talked about facts.
Look at the fight over TikTok.
Boom. So it's like, idolism is actually corrupting our kids. So, and also that whole, it's a weird relationship that they build with the people that they see online. Like, yes, I understand, like, I have online friends that I talk to and have relationships because I socialize with them. Mm-hmm. But they have these relationships with YouTubers that don't even socialize with them directly. They just post videos online for them for entertainment. So, you talk to your kids a little bit about idolism and understanding, like, who actually is a real person in their life versus the balance of that. Yeah. I try to reflect that with my 11-year-old all the time. And that you have to understand time on this world is better with the people around you rather than the things online, and that's more important. Slowly learning that. He's only 11, but still it's like that needs to be something I feel like needs to be pointed out more in today's society for us to have longevity, because if people just base ourselves off of surface level information, we talk about that on the show here all the time. We say, go check your sources, we're not a news station or anything like that. Check your sources, right? But if people start believing just a surface level of information, we're going downhill in the ship. The ship's taking us with, honestly, in the maelstrom of misinformation.
You know, when I was in college, my oral communication class, that was like one of the first things our professor taught us. Don't accept something somebody says. Challenge it.
Yeah.
Even mom and dad teach you that. Don't accept anything. Challenge it. And you challenge it by talking to mom and dad and getting the truth and knowing how to deal with it. But you challenge if you have a question about something, ask it. The only dumb question is the one not asked.
Exactly. And again, just kind of a shout out to that person. But really during, I felt like I had a nice conversation with them, because prior to, I had another 19-year-old in my class who didn't know anything about anything that I was referencing, and she's like, yeah, there's people who just know about like today and what's that, and they don't even bother looking into history anymore or like trying to educate themselves. It's really sad.
Dude, those people have always been around.
It seems more prevalent.
Unfortunately, it does.
Yeah, in this society. Anyways, just wanted to bring that up. Now, dumbass of the week.
Yay!
Because I need to talk about this one. Assassin's Creed is a video game made by Ubisoft, a company that produces quality video games. Wink, wink, for those who know how much of a sarcastic joke that was. But they also make Assassin's Creed, which is a big franchise for some people. But with Assassin's Creed, they're coming out with a Japanese-style arc, where it involves it's Yusuke or Yasuke. Some different pronunciations I've been hearing, but the first black samurai, the first samurai who ever outside of Japanese culture earned samurai title, right? The title of samurai. A lot of people were mad about that because now it's a DEI stunt and blah, blah, blah. Like, they have to put black people in the Japanese thing now. Like, why don't we do something that's actually accurate when it actually was a historically accurate thing? And I think a lot of those people are absolute dumbasses. Because the Smithsonian, right?
Yeah.
The museum that holds history, right, in a way, validates that and approves that, yeah, he was the first outside Japanese culture samurai.
I think those kind of people are just hating because they didn't think of it, because so much fiction is based in reality.
Yeah, and Assassin's Creed is not even a historically... it has its historical figures in it, but is it historically accurate?
I wouldn't use it as a history lesson.
No, not at all. But it really does use historical characters and people like George Washington, the Pope, Redcoats when you go and fight the British and all that shit. But there is a fictional background to it where the Pope has magic, George Washington becomes a king, and all that shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, really, is it really supposed to be accurate? Do we care about accuracy really in this?
If it's
Or you
entertaining, which is the whole
Yeah.
reason you're supposed to be into it.
Or are you just complaining? Because again, it's black people getting the spotlight again, man. I think I always love, not the fact that we get the sunlight, whatever, sunshine, spotlight, whatever. But I love historically accurate things that are not necessarily unknown to people, but not common knowledge. I think that's good. I think it's a good thing to have. Use historical figures, but also play with the story a little bit if you need to. Like, that's fine.
That reminds me of the small-minded people that complained about Wakanda.
Oh, God, yeah. Or it's a Resident Evil 5 thing, too, for also those gamers out there. But, in theory, or overall, it is a dumbass thing, and it gets Dumbass of the Week, the Yasuke Black Samurai reaction deal thing. That's it.
Yeah. So, my dumbass of the week.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm going to circle back to the New York trial.
Okay, here we go.
Because yesterday, during the trial, this U-Haul truck pulled up in front of the court, and the back opened up, and all these pink penis phallic balloons came out the back with pictures of like Jack Smith and Alvin Bragg and
Who are those people?
Jack Smith is the special counsel prosecuting all the federal things like the documents trial on January 6th.
Okay.
And Alvin Bragg is the district attorney of Manhattan, the one currently prosecuting Donald Trump.
Okay. Gotcha. Perfect.
Yeah. And, to me, you just look like a dumbass. Anyone who participated in this, you're a dumbass. You wasted your money on something that makes you look like a dumbass.
I think it's so funny, man. That's so funny. I did see that video, actually, and they did not fly. They didn't rise either. You get the joke there.
So, I mean, I'm just like, for real, that's what you come up with? That's your way of protesting?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
come
think it's
on.
really dumb. I don't know.
Again, I left high school many, many years ago. If
Yeah.
that's what you got to come up with, again, but that shows you the level of intellect of these dumbasses that support this dude.
I mean, the last rally I saw that was happening outside the New York trial, there were 2 people, so whatever.
Yeah.
You
It's just, at least be creative.
At least.
Give me something to think about. You guys just look stupid.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I could not agree more, man. That deserves Dumbass of the Week for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for tuning in if you did. Thank you for catching the VOD if you are doing that later on in the week, if you wanted to educate yourself on things that are going on throughout the week. I'm Zane.
I'm Gene.
And it's been Hanging with Uncle. Check us next week on Friday.
And don't forget to be kind to one another.
And pay yourself.
And treat each other the way you want to be treated.
We had a pay yourself segment and we didn't say it. Ah, man.
We've been getting paid.
Have a good weekend, everybody.